Starting off the list at number 10 is Terrence Howards. We saw him take on the role of James Rhodes in the first Iron Man movie, but then he disappeared and we didn't see him reprise his role for the sequel. But we eventually got an explanation for it, and it's pretty simple. Money. He discussed his reasoning for leaving the MCU in 2013 on the Andy Cohen series called Watch What Happens Live. He alleged that Robert Downey Jr., I quote, took the money that was supposed to go to me and pushed me out. He explained that Marvel signed him up for 3 films, and then when it was time for the sequel, they demanded he take an almost 90% pay cut. I feel like that's illegal. He also said that he called Robert Downey Jr., a friend of his who he actually helped get the role of Iron Man in the first place, and apparently Robert didn't call him back for 3 months. But 4 years later they were able to be civil again, and Terrence admitted that he just ran his mouth when he shouldn't have, and that they are all making money now, so who cares. Up next at number 9 is Zoe Saldana. We watched her play Gamora in the Marvel franchise for years, but recently she disappeared on us. Fans were thrilled to see her resurrection in Avengers Endgame, but her return left everyone with a lot of unanswered questions. Mainly one: what does this mean? Now that she's basically come back to life, where does her character go from here? Fans were hoping to get some answers at Comic-Con this year, but all we got was confirmation that she will not be returning anytime soon. When speaking with the LA Times, she spoke as if her time with the MCU has officially reached an end. They spoke about her last experience as Gamora and how she felt, and she said, "It was sad, of course, because I think we all suffer from FOMO. There is always a fear of missing out, but I'm so happy that I got to play a part in the Marvel Universe. So I guess I'm going to cry all the way to Avatar, you know?" Zoe knew she would return for Avengers Endgame to finish the story, but we're all pretty bummed that hers might officially be over. At number 8 we have Gwyneth Paltrow, who we know to play Iron Man's beautiful wife in the series Pepper Potts. She played Tony Stark's love interest for 11 years, appearing in different movies throughout her MCU experience. Her character appeared in all 3 Iron Man movies, as well as Avengers Infinity War, Spider-Man Homecoming, and Avengers Endgame. However, for those who saw Avengers Endgame, we all had to witness the death of Tony Stark, which means we also were saying goodbye to Pepper Potts. Fans might be bummed out, but Gwyneth seems to be okay with it and says that it is her time. She told Variety, "I mean, I'm a bit too old to be in a suit and all at this point." She has nothing but good things to say about her experience in the MCU, and chances are very slim that she will just reappear. Sweeping the number 7 spot is Edward Norton. He took on the role of the Green Monster, the Hulk, in the original Incredible Hulk movie. Fans were in shock back in 2010 when it was announced that they wouldn't be asking him to reprise his role in Avengers, saying that they wanted an actor who, I quote, embodied the creativity and collaborative spirit of our other talented cast members. Like anyone else would be, Edward was offended by that statement and told his side of the story, saying they unexpectedly cut off negotiations after weeks of civil discussions. I'm confused. Turns out there was already bad blood between the actor and Marvel because he wanted to rewrite the script, and when his added scenes weren't used in the final cut, he refused to do press for it. More recently in 2018, over a decade later, he took a shot at Marvel during Comedy Central's roast of Bruce Willis and went to the podium and said, "I tried to be like Willis. I did a big action movie called The Incredible Hulk. You know what went wrong? I wanted a better script." Shots fired. Next up at number 6 is Hugo Weaving, who played the Red Skrull throughout his time in the MCU. He first signed a multi-picture deal with Marvel Studios, but then decided he didn't want to return after Captain America: The First Avenger. You might be confused, as we saw the Red Skrull after that in Avengers Infinity War, but that was not Hugo. He was actually replaced by another actor. Apparently there weren't any hard feelings towards Marvel, he just wanted to steer away from blockbuster movies. He spoke about it with Collider, saying, "I think I've done my dash with that sort of film. It was good to do it and try it out, but to be honest, it's not the sort of film I seek out and am excited by." Since then he has appeared in other blockbuster films, but his screen time is relatively short, nothing compared to his time as the Red Skrull. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Tim Blake Nelson. Hulk comic fans weren't surprised when we learned about Mr. Blue in the Incredible Hulk film. The mystery man that Bruce Banner can only contact through instant messages turns out to be a scientist named Samuel Stearns, who was played by Tim Nelson. In the comics, his character is the alter ego of the Hulk nemesis, and their storyline lasted 4 years. This would have fans to believe that we'd see the storyline play out. In 2011, Nelson told the Playlist that he was still under contract to do more films for Marvel, but nothing ever came from it. He never got another Hulk standalone movie. Mark Ruffalo later took on the role as the Green Monster, and if it makes anything better for Norton, we still haven't seen a Hulk standalone movie, so don't worry. Here we are at number 4 with Tim Roth. He played the villain, the Abomination, in the Incredible Hulk movie, so people thought they would see him again for the sequel to Avengers. Tim told Crave Online that Marvel actually considered it. He said they were going to do it. They were thinking in the Avengers or something. It just kind of got swept under the rug, I guess. He went on to say that he didn't feel confident about making a return to the MCU, so it's really no surprise that he disappeared after that. However, there's no bad blood and he'd be more more than willing to come back. He once answered a fan question on Reddit and wrote, "I don't think Marvel will ever use me again, but it would be fun. Unfortunately, man, I don't think they will either." At number 3 is Chris Evans. Our beloved Captain America has disappeared from the Marvel Universe, and I'm still pretty upset about it. At the end of Avengers Endgame, we watched him pass over his shield to Falcon, who confirmed at the Seattle Comic-Con that he is in fact the new Captain America. Which can only mean one thing: Chris Evans no longer has a place in the MCU. Although you won't convince Marvel fans who feel like the actor can never truly be replaced. He did get one final performance in Endgame, and he was asked about his character's decision to return to the past and whether or not his reunion with Peggy Carter will have some sort of ramifications with Sharon Carter. Chris admits that he doesn't have the answer to that question, but he said that the MCU will never leave a stone unturned. He said, "Ask the writers. I mean, look, I understand there's a lot of things you could question about the time continuum, but if there's anything I've learned about working with Marvel, it's that they don't leave stones unturned. They really don't." So basically, let's all cross our fingers for the chance that he comes back for some kind of like cameo or something. Just put him on our screen. In spot number 2 is Robert Downey Jr. Number 2 on this list, but number 1 in our hearts. That was so cheesy. This one is pretty painful to talk about. After 11 years of watching the actor play Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, we had to part ways with him in Endgame after watching his very emotional death. Marvel fans are still digesting the death of the hero, and Comic-Con was just another reminder that we will not be seeing him in Phase 4. It might be safe to say that Robert Downey Jr. has officially run out of time in the MCU. People were happy to see him appear in Spider-Man Homecoming, even though it wasn't part of a story that continues any further. But regardless, Marvel fans already have a theory that the actor might return one day. The actor has recently said that he wants to see Ironheart being immortalized on screen as an actual character in the MCU. If this is a possibility, then he could technically come back as an AI, meaning he could reprise his Tony Stark ego as an artificial intelligence. There's no confirmation on this, and Marvel's president Kevin Feige speaks on Tony Stark's death and said that his death will be felt in future movies. So he is still talking in past tense, which means that he is totally gone. Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Tom Holland due to recent tragic events. The Marvel Universe was flipped upside down when it was announced that Disney and Sony could not reach an agreement on finances for the Spider-Man franchise. Technically, Sony owns Spider-Man, which also means that they pretty much own Tom Holland. The door officially closed on Spider-Man returning to the MCU, and Sony's boss man, Tony Vinciquerra, says they will be okay. He told Variety, "Spider-Man was fine before the event movies, did better with the event movies, and now that we have our own universe, he will play off the other characters as well. I think we're pretty capable of doing what we have to do here." The two studios weren't able to reach an agreement because Disney wanted a 50-50 co-financing arrangement, and Sony refused. There has been a ton of backlash from fans who are saying that they are going to boycott future Sony movies. Tom Holland doesn't like to speak on the issue right now and simply made a statement to his fans where he told them he's grateful and that he loves them 3000. Only true fans will know what that means. Starting off our list at number 10 is Josh Brolin, or as the MCU knows him as, Thanos. He has become one of the staples of the Marvel Universe after his incredible performance as the epic villain, but sadly his big superhero gig has come to an end. There's probably some mixed emotions going around about it. I mean, we'd be lying if we didn't say we wanted him to be defeated in Avengers Endgame, but after the villain was finally taken down, it meant that not only were we losing the Purple Beast, we were also losing Josh Brolin. With his character out of the picture, we won't see him making a return in the 2020 Phase 4. However, it turns out that Brolin is trying to get his hands on a role in an upcoming Deadpool movie. Disney Fox confirmed that there has been a temporary hold on Deadpool, which means that it could not even happen at all. But the actor said it hasn't stopped him from calling Marvel Studios multiple times to ask about the future possibility. During a recent appearance at the ACE Comic-Con in Seattle, he said, I quote, "I've been calling them, like, what's the deal with cable, man? Seriously, 100% serious. They're figuring it out. It's a big world now. It just got bigger, so who knows." Although we might not be seeing him in the MCU in 2020, there is still hope that we could see him back in the MCU in the future. And hopefully for Deadpool. Coming in at number 7 is Chris Pratt, another actor who will be missing from the MCU's Phase 4 come 2020. Good news is he is not gone forever, but we sure will miss him next year. At the recent Comic-Con events, fans couldn't help but notice that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was missing from Phase 4. Marvel's president Kevin Feige did mention that it was still coming to the panel, but will most likely be in Phase 5. But leave it up to Chris Pratt for not being a poor sport about it. He still hopped on the hype train for all the Phase 4 reveals. He joined the conversation by saying, I quote, "Oh my god, I cannot wait wait to see Blade. That to me is going to be so sick. I'm a huge fan of the original. All the Disney Plus stuff sounds really cool. I want to see Anthony Mackie in The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Scarlett's movie Black Widow. I'm just excited for all of it. You gotta love seeing how stoked he is for his other MCU members. His support is adorable, you guys. But we will be counting down the days until we see him again, and hopefully that is in Phase 5. Halfway through our list, at number 5 is Paul Rudd. He blessed our screens when he showed up in Avengers Endgame, adding some good comedy into the epic movie. Some were thinking that with his return would come another Ant-Man movie, but it wasn't even mentioned at this recent Comic-Con event. It's no secret that the Ant-Man films don't deliver the same box office results that his other MCU hero movies do, but we can't deny that they are entertaining and offer something different to the fans. People are curious to know, since we won't be seeing him in 2020, could he eventually get a third Ant-Man film? When the actor is asked about it, he responds by telling his fans to campaign for it, which doesn't really make us feel too confident about his return. It would be weird to go 2 full phases without a solo film, so it might be coming in Phase 5. Or maybe his character will make some sort of cameo in another story. In the past, Ant-Man films have been placed in the timeline after big events, so a solo movie might come at the end of Phase 5 following whatever big stuff Marvel has planned. These are all just fan speculations though, all we can do now is wait and see. But for now, I'm really gonna miss him. Up next is Evangeline Lilly, who partnered with Paul Rudd as the hero Wasp. It is a love story that we will probably never get sick of. Or we will. Who knows? But what I do know is the entire theater went crazy when we saw the two of them reunite in Avengers Endgame. Fans were thrilled to see Ant-Man, but then we all got very surprised when the love of his life showed up. But that's the thing, there's really no Wasp without Ant-Man, so we won't be seeing the actress in the 2020 Phase 4 either. But like fans are hoping for another Ant-Man movie, they are also hoping for a sequel to Ant-Man and the Wasp. And now that we got to see the two of them make a return in Endgame, there is actually a possibility that this could happen. Maybe a solo film won't work, but this one might. What do you guys think? Alright guys, at number 3 is Mark Ruffalo. We've seen him take on the role of the Angry Hulk for years, but we saw a different side to his character in Avengers Endgame, a much softer side. Some people got on board with it while others weren't really having it. But nonetheless, we can't deny that we love to see Mark in the MCU. After Endgame, no one really knows where the Hulk will go from here. For years, people have been hoping for a solo movie, but nothing has ever come about. After seeing the Phase 4 panel, we can't expect to see the actor in 2020. No solo Hulk movie was announced or even mentioned, and if anything, fans are hoping he could make some exciting cameos or something else in one of the other movies which were revealed. This hasn't stopped fans from coming up with the theory though that the Hulk could be turned into a villain and appear in Phase 4. The theory says that a different Hulk could be brought into the story called Maestro from the 1992 Marvel Comics. This version is a combination of Banner's mind and Hulk's strength, just like the Smart Hulk which we saw Mark Ruffalo become in Endgame. These are just some ideas and fans are hoping for it, but as of now we're not getting our hopes up to see him in 2020. Taking the number 1 spot is Wesley Snipes. One of the best moments at this year's Comic-Con was the announcement of Blade, but more so who was cast to play the part. In the original Blade movie, Wesley Snipes took on the epic role, but we just found out that someone new will be playing the part, and it's Mahershala Ali, the 2-time Oscar winner. You can only imagine what it would feel like to not reprise your role for the reboot, but Snipes surprisingly handled himself with some grace. After the big announcement was revealed, he released a statement saying, I quote, "To all the daywalkers losing their minds right now, chillax. Although the news comes as a surprise, it's all good. Such is the business of entertainment. Much peace to the MCU crew, always a fan." So I guess there's no bad blood then. Some fans weren't so forgiving though and think that the role should have gone back to him. He hasn't played the Marvel character since 2004, but we might just see him again. He has also said that he and Marvel will someday work together again, and that it is not the end of the story. Do you guys think he should have been reprised the role? Tell me down in the comments because this is the big debate.
Coming in at 10, Tim Roth. Now, for warning, there will be a lot of mention of Incredible Hulk on this list because we all know how much of a train wreck that film was. Anyway, Tim Roth of course played Emil Blonsky, aka the Abomination, in this 2008 superhero flick. However, this was Roth's only appearance, which was a surprise to many fans of the actor and character. According to Roth, Marvel did consider bringing him back for Avengers, stating they were going to do it. They were thinking in the Avengers 2 or something. It just kinda got swept under the carpet, I guess. How the folks over at Marvel were going to craft that story, we have no idea, considering Ultron was the main antagonist. Roth has given up hope on a return, however, considering that fans weren't so thrilled about the Hulk films, and the possibility of Mark Ruffalo getting a standalone is slim to none. Roth did state, however, "I don't think Marvel will ever use me again, but it would be fun." Coming in at 9, Josh Dallas. Josh Dallas appeared in Thor back in 2011 as Fandral of the Warriors 3. Now, he wasn't the most pivotal character, but people certainly took notice when he disappeared and was replaced by Zachary Levi. Now, the recasting didn't come down to money, behind the scenes drama, or lack of skill, but simply because of a scheduling conflict. At the time, Dallas was also appearing on ABC's Once Upon a Time as Prince Charming / David Nolan, with the actor also signed up for Thor: The Dark World. However, due to conflicts with ABC, Dallas had to back out. The actor was reportedly bummed about the situation, stating, "I had such a great experience and great time making the first film and was really excited about coming back. I love Marvel. I wish them all the best." Dallas wasn't forced out but came to the decision on his own, knowing that it was impossible for him to fly back and forth to Vancouver in order to shoot Once Upon a Time. At least he wasn't shoved out the door. There's always that. Coming in at 8, Jaimie Alexander. Like our number 10 point, Jaimie Alexander also had some scheduling conflicts when it came time to shoot Thor Ragnarok. The popular actress who played Lady Sif completely disappeared from the franchise, with fans questioning the notable absence. Outside of the MCU, Alexander stars as Jane Doe on NBC's Blind Spot, which ultimately got in the way of her returning as Lady Sif. However, unlike Dallas, Alexander stated that Marvel didn't work very hard to make things work out for her. I quote, "I was hoping for more of a notice from the studio so I could make it work, but it was a short notice thing. They called and said, 'Hey, by the way, would you come do this?' And I said, 'There is no way I can make that work that fast.' Thankfully, the door is still open for a Lady Sif return. However, it will be unlikely to be Jaimie Alexander playing the beloved character." Coming at 7, Damion Poitier. Now, it's common knowledge that Josh Brolin wasn't the first actor to play the Mad Titan Thanos, with the actor first appearing in his purple getup back in 2014's Guardians of the Galaxy. However, Thanos appeared before then, back in 2012's The Avengers. However, this time the Mad Titan was played by Damion Poitier, best known for his role in HBO's True Blood. Now, there were no reports of Marvel being unhappy with Damion or his performance, it just appears that Josh Brolin was the better choice in their eyes, and honestly, they're not wrong. Kevin Feige told Collider, I quote, "You look at Brolin's face and the performance he gives. He could be Thanos without any effects. He has that kind of face and that kind of gravitas to it." Now, Damion did make a small cameo in the MCU following Avengers, but this time in Civil War as one of Crossbones' henchmen. However, it's unlikely that he will ever return to the MCU, at least not in a big way, that is. Coming in at 6, Aaron Taylor Johnson. Oh, Quicksilver gone too soon. We still remember that heartbreaking moment Scarlet Witch's brother Quicksilver shielded Hawkeye and a young civilian in order to protect them from a spray of bullets. Sadly, the speedster wasn't speedy enough and bit the dust instantly, resulting in Scarlet Witch losing all of her shit. His death surprised everyone, with the character only just being introduced into the MCU, with many speculating that it had something to do with Evan Peters playing the same character in X-Men Days of Future Past. However, Kevin Feige denied these claims, stating instead that Quicksilver's death adds stakes to the ending of the film, to show repercussions to Ultron's action, and also in a way to solidify Scarlet Witch's character and Wanda's arc in the movie and where we'll see her in the next films. He even went on to state that in every single version of the script, Quicksilver died. Well, sorry Aaron.